Have you ever wondered if you were being directly or indirectly manipulated in a relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or a family member relationship? Well, if you're not sure and you want to know, we're going to talk about one of these tactics today called triangulation. You'll often hear this term used in narcissistic communities where people talk about having partners, for example, with narcissistic personality disorder. But I think it's really important to recognize that triangulation occurs outside of those spaces as well and can often happen with individuals with different secure attachment styles. And triangulation, when it comes to a narcissist, may be something more premeditated, but is something that can happen in a non premeditated way when it comes to insecurely attached styles who don't necessarily have better ways of getting their needs met. And so they may triangulate as a strategy to sort of manipulate the outcomes that they're looking for when they don't know how to better resolve conflict. So, in this video, we're going to talk about 5 really obvious forms of triangulation that you want to pay attention to and be on the lookout for. And if you stick around to the end, we'll talk about what you can do and at the root level, why somebody is actually doing this to begin with. So, first and foremost, I want to just explain what triangulation is. So, triangulation is essentially when somebody is in a relationship and they involve another party or an external person or factor in their relationship in order to try to manipulate the outcome that they're looking for. And a really common example of this that I find to be really clear is like, let's say, for example, that two people are romantically in a relationship and they have a roommate. Somebody might say, let's say it's just for argument's sake here, let's just say it's a couple, and one person in the couple goes to the roommate and says, hey, tell my partner that they need to do the dishes. Tell my partner that, they need to tidy up a little bit more. Don't be afraid to give them a hard time. So what this person is doing is rather than going and communicating directly to their partner what they're feeling, what they're needing, what they're looking for in a relationship, they instead will go to the roommate and try to get the roommate to sort of do the work for them. And, that's coming from this sort of innocent space, but you can see this really exists, like with most things we talk about on here, along a continuum. So we could instead, have somebody getting somebody else to do their bidding where they're saying, you know what? Tell my partner how lucky they are to be with me and that they'll never find somebody else like me again. Or, tell my partner that if they go out on Friday that, I would be really unhappy and I might leave them, so it can go into sort of this like more threatening territory or much more unhealthy territory. But I think it's really important to acknowledge at its roots that if one person is getting somebody else to do their bidding or getting somebody else involved in the relationship communication and they're essentially outsourcing it, that at its core level is still unhealthy. And it's something that people do when they are avoiding conflict directly. They don't know how to hash out conflict in a more productive way. Maybe they're with somebody even who they feel like that person won't respond really well to their requests or to their needs. But for any of these dynamics, the more we outsource something to someone else that's really personal to us, like our romantic relationship, if we're outsourcing that communication to a third party, I mean, you're really disempowering yourself in that process. So, the main forms, we'll talk about these 5 major forms of triangulation you'll see that you can kind of stay tuned for is number 1, involving a friend or a family member. Okay. So very commonly we may see one partner bring in a friend, a family member, an outside person into their relationship in order to get validation from that person, get support, have that person resolve the conflict for them or do the communicating for them. And again, you're just outsourcing. Okay. Number 2, and this is where we can get more like insidious with some of this stuff, where it can get a little bit uglier. Number 2, we may see somebody compare, right? So one partner might compare their partner to somebody else. So they're using this like external person, even though that person isn't physically there doing the discussing for them. They're saying, oh, well, my ex used to do this and you don't do that. My ex was always doing the dishes. I never had to worry about that when I was living with my ex. My ex was always making sure that they were on time. I never had to worry about that with them. So there's still this like trying to get this third party. And rather than saying, hey, I would really like us to work on, sharing the household chores, can we make a schedule? Or rather than saying, can you please work on being on time? It bothers me when you're not. Instead of having like a person to person hashed out discussion, they're like, oh, my ex used to be on time all the time. And so those things are this person who's doing the triangulating not knowing how to communicate more directly, first of all. But also, there's huge detriments to things like this. And we'll go through the three other ones in just a moment. But you'll see that there's a lot of like when somebody's hearing that you're constantly comparing them to their ex or to some other person, I mean, that never lands favorably for the person hearing that, right? Nobody's ever going to receive that in like a, oh, wow, I'm so glad you shared that with me. I can't wait to be more on time. No, that's never going to go over well with somebody. And it's going to cause stress to the relationship over time, right? We store those things, resent them. They come up in different ways later sometimes. So that's a really important thing to pay attention to. And it obviously can have somebody's self-esteem take a hit. Another big thing, another form of triangulation that you want to be aware of is emotional affairs. So, what can actually happen as a person if they're feeling like they're not getting their needs met from the romantic relationship specifically, that person may actually go to an external person outside of that primary relationship to use that third party as a way to get their needs met that they're again not communicating to their partner. I can't stress how much it is important to learn healthy communication skills in order to form securely attached bonds and relationships because without it we don't know how to get our needs met, and because the subconscious mind is literally a needs meeting machine, it's going to find other ways, and usually those other ways are going to be subconscious kind of survival strategies looking for immediate gratification because you're starving for your needs, and they're going to lead to things like emotional affairs, or they're going to lead to things like these other forms of triangulation, comparison to the ex, all these things that are really really unhealthy. And by the way, if you want to check out for free for 14 days, just for a limited time, our free trial, you can actually check out our communication course and the needs course that will help you. You'll be able to get through both of those no problem in 14 days. They're like 2 hours each or so. And it will help you understand exactly what your needs are from relationships and have really healthy strategies to communicate them, or help other people learn communication strategies if you're leading by example, using some of the communication scripts and examples that we have. So you can check those both out for free for 14 days, along with all other courses using the link in the description down below. Triangulation strategy number 4 is we will see somebody use the silent treatment. Okay. So instead of directly communicating, same thing that you'll see here, same pattern, lack of direct communication, their feelings to a person or their needs, that person may actually withdraw. And then again, in that silent treatment, they're often hoping that that person will go to an outside source to be like, what's wrong with my partner? What happened? So that person again can kind of like indirectly do the bidding for them. And number 5, we may see somebody brings up past experiences or past relationships as a means to criticize their partner, right? So they might say, it doesn't even have to be like a romantic relationship and a comparison drama, but somebody can just bring up past events like, when I lived with some, my old friend, they never used to do that. You do this. And so they may not be comparing directly to an ex, but they can still be bringing up other people, other relationships, other external parties, as a means of like either getting somebody to do their bidding for them, or as a means of essentially comparing, criticizing, getting needs met in all these really indirect ways. And I can't stress enough that the more indirect the way, usually the greater the downside when it comes to how we're trying to get our needs met. So if you're seeing this, you have to recognize that triangulation is something that will undermine communication. It will undermine the ability to build trust, to feel like we can work things through, and it will definitely undermine intimacy in the relationship. And so what we need to be able to do is number 1, if you see yourself triangulating or you see somebody else triangulating, like if I ever saw somebody doing that to me now, the first thing I would do immediately is I would say, hey, I hear that you have a need and I need you to speak to me directly about what that need is, because communicating or comparing me to an ex or to somebody else is not healthy. And that's not something I'm looking for in a relationship. So I'd set a really firm boundary. I wouldn't get really angry. I would set a really firm boundary and I would call it out really directly, but in a calm tone, in a tone like I'm speaking in now. And so there's no room for that, right? You're like, if you have something you need from me, communicate directly, but I don't want to hear it and I'm not going to listen to it. It's not going to land well when you communicate in that way. That's unhealthy. And so, you can do that. Or if you ever find yourself triangulating, don't judge yourself, get curious about it and go into, okay, what is the need that I'm trying to communicate? And why do I feel so disempowered or afraid to be more direct in how I'm communicating? And those are things you're going to want to solve for so that you can communicate directly about what your need is. And that's actually where you have the greatest likelihood of truly getting that need met. So, welcome to our personal development school free attachment style test. If you have less than 3 minutes, really, it usually takes to fill out this test, we have a few questions for you to help you really determine exactly your attachment style and even the breakdown. So, if you're leaning a certain direction, if you have a secondary attachment style, it will help break all of this down for you. Essentially, the quiz is here. It's at the Personal Development School website. You just click attachment style test at the top, and there are a series of questions here that you can take. And as you go through the questions, you will see that by the end of this, you actually have the ability to obtain a free report. There's a tremendous amount of detail in that report in terms of what your attachment style is, what different patterns you have, wounds, fears, needs that are going to be important for you to navigate relationships, the best ways to learn to emotionally regulate. And we even talk about some of the relationship you might have to your boundaries or patterns of communication and activating or deactivating strategies. So there's a tremendous amount of information that will help you break everything down. It's a great quiz for you to take, or for you to take with a loved one, with a partner, with a friend who may also be curious about what their attachment style is. You'll see at the end, you get a full report. And if you decide to submit your email, we actually email a really detailed report, even more so than on the landing page, to your inbox. So I hope you check it out. I hope you enjoy, and can't wait to see how your attachment style learning journey goes. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this is valuable information for you here today. If you want to see more videos on triangulation, manipulative tactics in relationships, gaslighting, these sorts of things, because they're not something that are just exclusive to narcissistic personality disorder, let me know in the comments below or hit the like button, and I will know to come back in here, check how it's doing, and create more topics like this in the future. So thank you for stopping by. If you're enjoying this channel, please consider subscribing as well so you don't miss any of our sometimes daily videos. And thank you so much for being here.